Okay, that took a while. Um, Good morning. I know you're not used to this. I just want to let you know um, that this is for good reason. I mean, okay, it's now Wednesday, February 26th, 2025, and we're having to disguise the truth. So it's 10 past 8. No, oh my gosh, everything's changed. Everything just changed. So I'm proving to you what time it is, even though I can't, because of facial recognition. I'm not allowed to say any of this, but all our moral compasses have been shifted slightly by the magnetic pulses of many things, but also by the inherent propaganda within the system of controls that I personally don't follow anymore, but I went along with. Okay. Sometimes I might have to write certain words down on pieces of paper, but most of the time I'm going to be able to speak because I can't. Okay. Spending my allowance in Hollywood. What does that mean? Well, I was allowed a certain amount of time to do a certain amount of things in a Hollywood I hate to call it a career because it wasn't a career. It was a conscious decision to make art and music be be my centerpiece for my existence, and then having it usurped by somebody going, I'll pay you thousands of dollars to make my picture look pretty. Well, why would you do that? Well, because you're English, you got an English accent. And I'm like, uh, I don't consider myself to be English. You know, I'm from this earth. I'm an earthling. And they say, oh, that's good. That's funny. So again, it's like, here, here's some money. But it wasn't just the money. Of course, there's always the associated fame and fortune and all the other things. And you're like, okay. So I was spending my allowance in Hollywood. They allowed me to get to a certain point, and then now I expose myself and lose. Telling the truth is exposing yourself to the people who would use some of the more nefarious stuff that you were associated with to bring you down. It's a loop either way. It's like if you do really, really well, you're going to get brought down. If you do really, really poorly, but you have some influence, they're going to bring you down. I've been banned from lots of social media. Yesterday, I went on. I managed to. I don't know how. I mean, just recently, they're letting me get away with things that they were stopping me talking about, stopping me um, saying, and backing it up with my own research and my own experience as research. But they stopped me for a while on lots of social media, which is, in a way, I'm kind of like, okay, that made me sit down and think seriously about what I'm saying and why I'm saying it. but I am ready to expose myself clearly. And oh, come on, this is all a joke. Come on, look, you know who you are. You know what you've done. Oh, gosh, this is funny. That's the top of a coffee. I opened my coffee jar and there was a flavor seal. It doesn't matter which way you dress it up. Really doesn't matter which way you dress it up and make it pretty. It doesn't matter. It's still your truth. Understand your truth. I'm flipped. Understand your truth from your own experience, your own general experience of life. Try not to be led by the propagandists who are. I'm not. I have to give them incredible, and it is incredible. I mean, you know, what is credible, what is incredible. I have to give them incredible props for being so devious and so masterful at manipulating a lot of the world to believe that they're not in control. Sorry, put my props away. So, good morning. I am the Oracle. Please look into my eyes. You are feeling sleepy. Go to sleep. We're going to change everything whilst you're asleep. And there it is. New world. The New World Order. We're there. Yay! Same as the old one. Well, I wanted better. Didn't you? No, I did. I wanted better than this. So how do I do it? Do you have to break down the old one in order to build up the new one? Or do you just say, fuck it, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to make my own. And that's what I did. Fuck it, I'm going to do my own. I make music, I make art. There are musicians and artists out there that are doing it on their own and independent. You probably never heard of them, but that's okay. As long as they're being creative and addressing the balance. Great people are out there doing great work. And you have to, in the past, it was always like a system by which, oh, they let a few people through and you go, oh yeah, that was good. There have been times in my life when genuinely talented artists of all genres, genuinely talented ones, were allowed through the loop. So is the people that bring them into the fame and fortune show. It's a show. They bring them into the fame and fortune show. They've got to have some genuinely talented ones so as they can copy them. And there have been copies of. Every time a really truly talented musical band, let's just, because that's mostly my background. Excuse me. Every time they let a talented one get popular and push it in the media, and they are genuinely talented and brilliant. Every time they do that, and then they make a copy of it, and then they try and pull the rug out from underneath the ones that they let through. I mean, gosh, I'm going to give an example. Radiohead, absolutely brilliant group of guys who are amazingly talented musicians, and in my opinion, and individually and collectively are absolutely brilliant. When the record company started to, or let's say, when their controllers started to say, uh, well, you know, next album, you know, and all that stuff, I think the people in Radiohead did a brilliant thing. They said they went to what is the maxim for most people now, which is they told their controllers, we've got a great album here, we're going to put it out, and we're going to put it out as name your price. In other words, if people wanted to, they could pay normal price or more or less or none and still get their music. That to me was like, okay, there's an offer from the actual artist to give their art away, but because you have an appreciation for them, you're willing to pay, you know, a small percentage of your earnings in order to show your appreciation or not. And I think that's an idealistic view of where I believe most artists go wrong. Their handler, the system says, here's some fame and fortune. We're going to make you bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where we can destroy you because we have this little bit of information about you. Ooh. And they do, they pull the rug. So that happens a lot, especially in Hollywood. Once you get into that system, I mean, I was in that system for, gosh, several years. I was a production designer and art director of music videos and commercials, mostly. I did do one feature, I did do one TV thing. But the point is, for many years, I recognized the fame game, and then I recognized who was promoting it, where the money was going, how the money was spent, and why it was spent that way. And you know, I tried really hard to insert art into a lot of the work that I did, and most of the time I was told by the handlers, the producers, but the money people behind the producers, I was told, no, 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 we don't need art. Just make it look pretty so as people buy it. So in the end, it became such a commercial construct that I was like, well, what am I promoting here? I did get offered a few very big commercials for things that I was absolutely like, I was opposed to nearly all of what I worked on, but um, the reason why I did all the music videos and commercials and stuff like that was because I found it to be innocuous. But then there were certain things that I was involved in that I was like, wait a minute, this is something that I'm diametrically opposed to, that I'm putting my effort into making into a thing. Yes, I'm taking the money out and I'm using it to make music and art and do the things I do, which are always going to be marginalized because of this all purveying stupid nonsense where you have to hide yourself or you get banned for saying things like vaccine or virus or whatever. You know, there's so many taboo subjects now that you're like, please let me stay on your platform. So I'm stood on this stage, right? And I'm being a production designer, I'm being an art director, and all of a sudden the stage goes like this, and you're like, whoa, what's going on? And they say, hey, I'll give you thousands of dollars a day if you just bring me a red mug full of coffee, and we'll say you're the production designer because you brought that to the table. And I'm like, I don't want to. This is my mug. This is my mug. This is my mug. I don't want to do that. And you can't buy me with money or fame. Big festivals, music festivals. I mean, they let you in the door, but they make sure you're not saying anything contentious. They'll let you in the door. I mean, I got invited to play with the big boys musically, but I walked away. That's when I lost some members of the band as well, because they think we should have taken the money and run. Take the money and run. If you knew it was made at the point of a gun. I turned down a very big series of commercials for the military because I'm a pacifist. I just couldn't put my name to it. But you'll find stuff that I've done that is like, oh, that's contentious too. But there was a time when I was just trying to support my family and trying to support my children who were babies and young and trying to help them. But then I got pushed and coerced into doing stuff that I didn't really want to do. I mean, I wasn't really interested in trying to make it arty. I was just interested in, like, because I couldn't make it arty. I couldn't bring art to a commercial for fucking Target or some superstore or whatever. It's just, I just couldn't. It was so generic and it was so boring, and it was all about money, and it was all about push, and of course they'll work you till you drop. But I didn't drop. I just kept going to pay to raise my kids, to be in a system that I didn't agree with, and to work hard. I've worked hard my whole life, but I've been doing art that I love in order to enhance my living, my standard of living. That's all. And of course, you're going to get punished for that because you're standing outside of the system. There are some filmmakers, there are some record labels, there are some companies, there are some holdouts, and there are some clever people who ride that roller coaster knowing that they're going to get at some point chopped down for being open, but they're trying to play the fame game and get as powerful as they can so as they can turn it in on itself. But by the time they reach that pinnacle, it's kind of like ooh, which going to come first? You're going to be demonized, or you're going to say what you need to say. I think this happened to Kubrick. I mean, as much as I love Stanley Kubrick's films, and I do very much, I think they're brilliant. I admire his arrogance at saying, I'm doing it my way and I'm doing it this way and I'm doing it. But there are messages in his movies that I think get through, and I think that's important. But if you can turn the imagination against itself, yeah, Imagineering. That's what's happening. I mean, brilliant people, some of the 70s and 80s, even into the 90s, and there still is occasional, but they're just drops, things that are made like musically, artistically, film, art itself, paintings, sculptures, there are events, all of these things. There's an occasional one they let through so as it can become successful enough that they can control all the things around it, or do a carbon copy of it and then just get rid of the original. So I likened it to when, I mean, I used to make flyers for the clubs I used to run. Um, I used to make flyers, and it's like you take your original artwork, often just cut and paste stuff, and you put it on, and then you go in and you do a photocopy, and you're like, wow, this looks really good, right? It's 2D art. It's just, simple, but it looks really good, and you're like, oh, that's cool. But instead of what Hollywood has a tendency, and a lot of the control system around art and music, what it tends to do is it takes, instead of taking the original and making copies of it for everybody's pleasure, it takes the already photocopied version, so you get sold short. It's and then the more copies of that, and then people copy that copy, and then you get to a point where it's just a blurred mess. We're not there yet. We haven't got blurred messes, but we've got some pretty shit movies about. This is probably to do with, I mean, in my opinion, right? And lots of educated people I know, especially journalists, brilliant journalists, who have, pointed me in a direction of knowing what is and what isn't propaganda. Of course, this is propaganda. I am talking to you my opinion. It's not truth, it's opinion. But I do understand that I've done a lot of research to get to this opinion, and I've done a lot of experiential understanding to realize that it's really endemic. It's going to crash. But the more we allow in, okay, the more we allow into our lives, the more we have to remember that we're playing this game where we know that we're being manipulated. And we don't get lost within the game, because it is like a maze. The Shining, it is like a maze, and you can get lost in it easy, very easy. Even if you go in as an outsider. Oh, we like the outsiders. Well, we'll let them through. Let a few of them through. See, the thing is, I had people join my band who thought of it as being rebellious to be in a band, with other musicians who are making music and art and going out there and doing their thing. It's like they thought of that as rebellious. And each of them, I said, look, it's about as rebellious as joining the army. Everybody can write, and everybody can be an artist. It's just self-proclamation, right? I am an artist. Right. There you go. But you have to keep producing art in order to be considered an artist, which is fine. And I do that too. But as an aside, it's not that rebellious. Even brilliant people through the 70s, late 70s, early 80s explosion of music were saying, selling rebellion for money. And what were they doing? Selling rebellion for money. Of course we are, but knowing it and not losing sight of it. We now have people from that same band who are using the public relations, the system, to put themselves back up on the pedestal. Well, maybe they're putting themselves back on the pedestal so as they can pull the rug from out underneath this ridiculous facade that humanity needs to have more rules, more regulations, and more controls, instead of having less and less and less, and until you become entirely sovereign. You got to be free in order to understand that your life is an example of that freedom. If you can't be free and you just pontificate about it, like, yeah, I'm going to be free like those people. No, you're not. You're not going to be free like those people, because those people are in a group that is being collectively shifted into believing that they're part of a revolution. There's no revolution. The revolution's in here and in here. That's where the real revolution is. The real revolution is in your heart. You've got to do as you say and try and be on that path of peace and love and understanding. And he's pontificating, and look at him acting. Oh my God, who does he think he is? Anthony Hopkins? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That's another thing they do as well, which is rather funny about Hollywood, is they'll pluck a minor, and I'm not saying untalented, but a minorly popular actor from the British stage, or stage actor, or from television, or kind of artistic beauty, sort of art cinema. They'll pluck an actor from that and then thrust them into Hollywood, and I've seen that happen many times, and successfully too. Absolutely successfully. The successful ones come in, do their job, take the money, and run. They get out. They get out of the whole control system by achieving through their own talent something that is given to them, but they don't play the game within the Hollywood system. I mean, people have got really clever at it now. Ricky Gervais is an incredibly clever fellow. I don't agree with everything he says, but he's a very clever fellow. He uses Hollywood to make a living, and then goes and pokes fun at the people that are helping him make a living. We're at a very, I believe, I personally, Nigel Mitchell, believe that we're at a tipping point. We have a brilliant connection with a lot of people, and we have a way of shifting their ideas just enough to give us freedom of choice and activate that freedom of choice by removing these. Boom. No longer do we have to be controlled by a control system. No longer do we have to follow fools. I mean, in the religious and spiritual world, the old guard is in the mental world. People are finding themselves able to be breaking free of the mental constraints of anxiety and worry, and it's like, no, just live your life. I mean, it's a mental, physical, emotional, spiritual world, and we forgot how to transmit our freedoms, our ability to balance those, and we forgot how to transmit them. We were receiving a lot of information, and I think that's what the internet did. Is when, in the advent of the internet, I think we were flooded with lots and lots of information that we couldn't pick through. We couldn't discern. It was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Right. So now we've got it to a, like, I don't need to hear about what's happening in the political world. It is an entertainment, a form of entertainment. But we have to be wise about who we follow, or actually, most important, don't follow anybody. Follow fool, because you end up following people that may or may not be going down the same path as you. You think they are. There you go. I'm following them, but you can't. You have to eventually pick your own path, and that's why I wrote a song called "Peace is the Path," because that's the path I'm choosing. I don't want to be. I want there to be a bigger picture, less or no war at all. So why would I join uh, a why would I join in with the system that is pushing for perpetual war? No. Oof. Going full circle, it's always going full circle. But it's not one that ends, you see. It's a continuous thing. It's like we don't know the end. We really don't. I'm dealing on a personal level with some people that are thinking they're seeing the very end, and you're like, well, you're spiritual. You understand your spirit is an everlasting thing. So this isn't the end, is it? I mean, it's the beginning. Yeah, tough for a lot of people. Tough times right now because they keep lifting the curtains. What's behind the curtain? Oh my gosh! Look what's behind that curtain. Oh my gosh! If you look over it, yeah. See, but we're lifting the curtains. We're actually we're lifting the curtains. We're doing it. Be careful because they'll try and reveal things to you too. They are, you know. Oh my God! Look what he said. Oh look, he lifted the curtains. Oh my God, he's going to drain the swamp. What? He's gonna what? Why is he stood in the swamp with all his mates? The false promises, propaganda, all these things, weird, weird stuff, and things that you think, oh no, that was a good one. I enjoyed that film. Do you think it had an effect on you, or do you think that, yeah, you watched it and you'll forget about it, but it was entertaining for that hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever? No, it sits there. It's in there. No matter how good or bad it is, it's going to sit there. Experiential. We are experiencing a life. Let's not waste it on rubbish. Rubbish. Let's create things. Let's take the tools of the propagandist and go, no, fuck it. I'm going to make music with it. I'm going to make art with it. Sorry, but I can't play your game. I don't want to play your game. What do you mean? Everybody's in the game. Oh, the game of life? Oh, I'll play that game. That's a good one. Live, love, life? Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, but you've got to do this. I'm like, no, I don't. Don't you should me was one of my songs. Aye, aye, aye. Today I am trying to help somebody who is desperately crying out for help, but won't accept it. What can you do? I'm a little hungry. I think it might be time for breakfast. Oh, I'm 33 minutes in. I didn't realize I was chatting away that much. Okay. Took me a while, and sorry for the foolishness at the beginning, but it was just a way of me symbolically showing that if you show your real face and you be a real person and you interact with real people in a kind, caring, loving society that you want to create, it will happen. And if it doesn't happen, you've done your best to make it happen. If you don't do your best, then you're really just going at it half-assed. Don't be half-assed. Go at life with everything you got. Love, live, life. Live, love, life. Just be the person that you would love to be by being it, in love with you and in love with the world and in love with each other. And then we can create a beautiful, peaceful recognition of each other. And we can start from there. It doesn't have to be oh my God, it has to come now. No, we have to start. Okay, there you go. Woo, ranter. Cheers then. Bye.